Pamela Anderson is in her makeup-free era.
Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson is getting some kudos for her makeup-free Fashion Week look.
You kind of have to challenge beauty sometimes. You know, if we all chase youth or we're chasing our idea of what beauty is in fashion magazines and everything, we're only going to be disappointed or maybe a little bit sad. So I feel like this is it.
So what in the world does Pamela Anderson not wearing makeup have anything to do with facial rejuvenation, which is really the focus of this channel? Check it out, you're gonna find it very, very interesting. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Amir Karam, board certified facial plastic surgeon and founder and creator of Karam MD Skin. I specialize in facial rejuvenation, which basically means I help people look as young as they feel. On today's episode of Skin School, we're gonna talk about a very interesting psychological, sociological, cultural topic, and one that I first found very kind of like, why do we care? Why is all this conversation coming up about the fact that Pamela Anderson, who, as you all know, is a beauty icon, especially in the 90s, has been a very well-known celebrity and known for her beauty, has decided at age 55 to basically not wear makeup to all the traditional areas where you wear makeup to, red carpets, award ceremonies, on her own Netflix documentary, and all of a sudden that created this enormous buzz. All these media outlets, I'm talking like almost every major media outlet had an article written about it or 2 articles written about it, people talking about it. But that's not so interesting to me. What is interesting to me is what prompted that, what you might take from this, and how you can get to a place where you don't have to feel like you need to wear makeup. And maybe you already feel that way. Maybe you choose when and where to wear it, and it's not a thing, but I'll tell you, it's an interesting conversation. And I'm gonna tie it back to some things that you can do to actually get yourself to a place where you're gonna feel confident, youthful, beautiful, literally without the need to put heavy layers of foundation, etc. And if you are like many other women who are, aging, and finding the makeup is not working the way it used to in terms of the way it applies, etc., know that you're not alone. And this particular conversation we're gonna have here, I think it'll explain some of that and it'll put it into perspective on some of the things you need to do as time goes on and how to manage the whole process. So without further ado, let's kind of break it down, all right? And this is a very casual conversation. And if you haven't already, folks, hit subscribe to the channel because every single week we're gonna have topics like this and topics related to facial and skin rejuvenation. We're gonna break it down. What is makeup? And where did it all start from? This is an interesting thing. I did a little research on this. My background in college at UCSD was I did a double major, one in biochemistry and cell biology, and the other one was biological anthropology. So I find the evolution and the history of human behavior very, very fascinating. And so looking at makeup and where that all started from, I think some of the earliest accounts are somewhere between 5,000 to 7,000 years ago. And it started, in terms of the most clear examples, although there's some archaeological evidence that might even started earlier than this, but there's some very clear cultural examples that it started with the Egyptians. Their application was heavy eye makeup, eyeliner, very white faces. There's some accounts that say this was a sign of wealth and nobility, and the other signs that this is just what people did at that period of time. They used the white makeup to reflect the sun off of their face and protect the skin and keep it supple, and used oils and different things to smell good and feel good. So the whole process seemed to exist even between 5,000 to 7,000 years ago. What's interesting is, at that time, it wasn't a male or a female phenomenon. Men and women used it for various reasons. In fact, you look at some of the old images of men in different eras of time, wig, makeup, high heels, totally different than what happened post-1800s, which there was a shift towards makeup being a female-only thing. Of course, nowadays it's used across genders, etc. It's not the point here. The point is not about the gender aspect of it, but it's the cultural and societal trends that we've seen over time and how long makeup has been in human experience. But I think at the core of it all, at the fundamental foundation of it is feeling beautiful, feeling youthful, creates a self-confidence, creates a positive sense of self that frankly is the foundation of everything we do aesthetically, right? Color our hair, when it's gray, I don't, but maybe someday I will. If it gets too gray, who knows? You know, makeup, facelifts, vertical restores, you know, chipped teeth, anything that makes us feel less like ourselves, less confident, less beautiful, less youthful, we're gonna want to improve that. I mean, that's the foundation of the aesthetic and cosmetic, surgical, facial rejuvenation, and plastic surgery in general. It's all about the emotion. It's all about the way we feel on the inside, right? And if makeup contributes to feeling better about ourselves, well, then that's great. There's no problem with it. But I think what Pamela has done is she simply is saying, look, I don't feel like I need makeup to feel beautiful. I don't feel like I need makeup to feel youthful. And I shouldn't feel that I have to because it's some type of social requirement to show up everywhere you go with a face full of makeup. It shouldn't be that way. And I agree with that. Honestly, I totally agree with that because I think to each their own, do what you want to do, but there shouldn't be judgment associated with wearing it or not wearing it or you feeling like you have to, or else you're going to get judged in a negative way. And I love the fact that she stepped out and put this notion out there because I think probably, and you may relate to this as you're watching this, you may feel that there's a lot of truth there. You might feel like, there's times when you don't feel like you want to put any heavy makeup on and go out and about. I mean, quite frankly, my wife, she spends a lot of time over the years protecting her skin from the sun, putting on the right products and different things like that actively to improve her skin to the point where she doesn't have to wear makeup. Other than, her basic makeup is lipstick and eyeliner, but frankly, she doesn't use foundation, etc. on a regular basis or even on special occasions because the foundation of her skin is good. And this is what Pamela was saying basically, that she's taken care of her skin over a lifetime. And as a result, she feels beautiful with and without it. So why should she wear it? And I think that's a good sociological perspective and point. And I think there's gonna, hopefully, as we talk about it and discuss this a little bit and make this maybe less of a requirement as time goes on, maybe we'll see a new chapter when it comes to the relationship women have with makeup. It's a personal choice, personal empowerment issue, and I think that is what I'm all about. But if you choose not to go down that direction, what can you do to keep your skin looking beautiful and youthful and supple and all the things that give you confidence without a heavy layer of physical foundation and all that kind of stuff? That's really at the core what we're going to discuss today. Personally, what was interesting about all this was, as a surgeon who's literally seeing people who are desiring to look more youthful and coming to me for vertical restores and fat transfers and eyelid surgeries and all that kind of stuff, there's a couple observations here. The two things that make somebody look young is the shape of the face, right? Tight jawline, tight neck, very little bit of skin around the eyes, fullness in all the right places. And then the second thing is a really young looking facial skin. A young looking skin it's supple, it's free of fine lines and wrinkles, it has very little to no sunspots or pigmentation, has a good level of moisture, has great elasticity, right? That's young looking skin. And as a surgeon, I've literally focused obviously on the shape aspects, is what I do in the operating room, but I've always found it extremely important to get my patient's skin in the order it needs to be so that the skin and shape look amazing. So at the same time of surgery, I would do chemical peels and lasers. After surgery, I would get people organized on a really, really complex but effective skincare regimen that usually ended up being like 8 or 10 steps. As you all know, you've seen other videos of mine where I talk about what incorporates a good skincare regimen. But finally, I decided I'm gonna put it all together and make this the Karam MD trifecta so that a simple 3-step process can cover all the issues, take all the complications and the thinking out of it, and make it easy for the general population to know that they're on the right stuff so they can continue to see their skin improve. And this was really interesting when I took a deeper dive into Pamela Anderson's story. That's what she's advocating. So for her, she's all about taking care of the skin in a very simplistic way. And what she refers to this is sun protection, of course, hydration, not over exfoliating. I think I'm gonna do a whole video on exfoliation. I think people take exfoliating too far and that could actually damage the skin. Various things that are gonna bring a lot of hydration and moisture to give the skin that bounce and the suppleness that it needs, right? But at the end, it all starts with the same thing. We're all speaking the same language. Take care of your skin so that you can feel like with and without makeup, your skin looks amazing. The couple key points I think that are important to highlight here is that none of this stuff has any shortcuts. Like you can't just go from battering your skin to suddenly go do a laser and your skin's back to normal. If you try stuff like that, you're gonna see that it'll be temporary at best and that the lifestyle of skin care is really what it's about. So this is what I talked about all the time, or continue to go forward talking about consistency, and the parallel is diet and exercise as it relates to your body. Take care of your body, eat the right things, exercise all the time, and your body will get into better and better shape. You'll be healthier. If you do the right things for your skin will get better over time. And this is the thing I think most people forget about and make a fundamental divergence of, is they look for shortcuts, lasers, chemical peels, big downtime procedures. In the end, yeah, they make a big improvement in your skin, but immediately your skin's starting to fall back into it. So then you're like, oh gosh, that laser only lasted a short period of time, or that chemical peel, I got all my spots back and my lines are coming back, etc. It's what you do daily that makes the biggest impact. And that's, I think, what we learned from Pamela. I mean, she talks about her diet. She's on a very clean diet. She's a vegan, I believe, vegetarian or vegan, and she avoids processed foods and eats clean and hydrates and all those kind of like important things that are related to the lifestyle that makes skin, which is ultimately a reflection of our own health, appear beautiful and youthful. And you got to bring it all together. And that's one of the things that I think we can all learn from the Pamela Anderson story, is indeed that it takes more than covering it up, and it certainly takes more than just applying some type of quick fix type of a solution and hoping that things get better. Here's another, I think, realistic aspect of what's happening with the relationship women have with makeup during the aging process. And I really want you to reply in the comments below if you feel that this applies to you, but this is stuff that I hear all the time from my patients. 50-something and above, you start to see some changes fundamentally happening. Number one is the shape we talked about. So as the eyelids start to develop more skin through a process called dermatochalasis, the eyelids become more hooded. Corners of the brow comes down. The jawline and neck start to sag. Skin starts to form vertical lines on the face as the cheeks are kind of flowing down towards the mouth. Lips start to get vertical lines on them. So what does that mean when it comes to putting on makeup? Structurally, you don't have as much skin to put eyeshadow on. Corners of the brow are covering the corners of the eyelids, so even eyeliner can't be seen as clearly. Eyeshadow can't be seen as clearly. You put foundation on a face that's heavily lined and wrinkled, either through a long history of sun damage, coupled with the fact that things are sagging and building onto itself and creating these large areas of lines and wrinkles throughout the face. Makeup basically cakes and cracks inside these lines. The foundation doesn't look right. You put lipstick on, you have vertical lines on the upper lip. Guess what? The lipstick starts to bleed through those lines. You couple that with skin that has seen lots of sun, is pigmented, is rough, is lost elasticity. All that compounds the situation. All that makes it significantly more involved. Now, take the flip end of it. The sagging part is gonna happen no matter what, right? At some point, everyone's gonna feel the effects of that type of aging. That's where the fascia gets longer and everything starts to sink downward. But the contrast is in people with naturally really good skin is that some of those detailed things like lots of fine lines and wrinkles and things like that are not there. The skin is smoother, it accepts the makeup on a little bit better. There's not as much pigment to cover, therefore the amount of foundation that needs to be put on the face is decreased. So the cracking and the caking and all the other stuff that happens when you have kind of rough skin, fine lines and wrinkles all over the place, and you're putting a foundation on, that requirement becomes less. So the bottom line is, and this is something I hear about all the time, and I've never really put two and two together until thinking about this in relationship to all this discussion around Pamela not wearing makeup and kind of the reasons behind it, is that the satisfaction with wearing makeup when these things are happening and the beauty that comes from it versus like when you're in your 30s and you're putting it on versus when you're in your 60s putting it on, it diminishes. The effect diminishes a little bit. The positive components of it diminish. And it becomes kind of like another source of realization and challenge that the aging process is making even the use of makeup less ideal or less, optimal as it used to be. So that's something that people struggle with a lot. And if you're too young to empathize with this, then that's that. But if you're, in that range where you're seeing some of these changes, then it's real. Again, like I told you, I rarely don't hear this from my surgical patients, that there's some element of this going on. And it's usually not like the focus of it. Everyone's focus is the fact that they stop looking like themselves as a result of the aging process. But the detail behind that and makeup is kind of interesting. So for a lot of people, and this is interesting too, again, reflecting on some of my patients, I have patients from all over the world, and the ones who live in the Northern Hemisphere, very little sun exposure, all around lived a very low sun exposed lifestyle. Couple that with anyone who's taking actual care of their skin, to use retinols, vitamin C's, etc. on top. They come in at 60, 70, whatever it is, their skin is supple, their skin is clear, their skin is free of hyper fine lines and wrinkles and crepiness. And guess what? They usually are not coming in with a lot of makeup on their face. And they feel comfortable with their skin. They feel confident with that aspect of it. They're coming for me because of the sagging jawline and the neck and all that other stuff. But they rarely feel that they need to use the makeup to kind of make themselves look more youthful. They find that the challenges associated with it don't exist in their case, and they feel comfortable. So I think there's something more to Pamela's story, and I think the fact that she's being cool with it publicly will give anyone else an opportunity to rethink their own relationship with makeup and make a decision. I mean, like she said, she'll wear it when she wants to wear it, she won't wear it when she doesn't want to wear it, but she doesn't have to feel like she has to for every major event or every time she goes out or whatever it is. So I think that's the real conclusion from a sociologic point of view, is maybe it's time to rethink some of this. Second aspect of it is for you as an actionable item is don't neglect your skin. Even if you plan on having surgery with me or anyone else, the skin will contribute greatly to the overall outcome. And like I said, that's a major reason why I've become, honestly, equally as passionate about skin as I am about shape, and why I've gone after basically solving a problem that so many of you have had, which is, what do I do for my skin to actually make a difference? Well, I solved that with a trifecta, made it very simple. Just use it twice a day, every day. Watch your skin get better over time. Couple that with sun protection and you're gonna win and you're gonna beat this game. And I'm trying not to overthink it. I'm certainly not trying to, make something more than it is. I'm really understanding her perspective and her point of view, sharing it with you, and giving you some actionable things that you can do to get to that place and feel comfortable and confident. So this whole Pamela Anderson not wearing makeup thing started around a year ago. I think it was February, they said. And you might be asking, why did this happen? What was the impetus behind it? Well, interestingly enough, the impetus was that her career-long makeup artist passed. So she had a very special relationship with the makeup artist, used them in most of her career, and then the passing gave her an opportunity to kind of step back and rethink how she wants to proceed. And this is where she made the decision to do what she's currently doing, which is very independently making decisions about when and where to wear makeup on. I don't think it was a deliberate planning. It was just sort of a reaction to some life events that made her think a little bit deeper. And maybe this video is your opportunity to think about this a little bit more deliberately, and think how your own relationship needs to go with makeup, as opposed to feeling like this is a social norm that has to be adhered to, or else something's wrong, right? I mean, at the end of the day, independence, empowerment is really what it's about. So I hope that did some justice on this topic, brought a different perspective on it. Again, I'm not trying to jump on the Pamela Anderson media thing. I mean, that's happened a few weeks ago, but it was really a matter of trying to understand it better and help you understand it and apply it to your own situation. If you have any questions whatsoever, if you have any thoughts about it, drop them in the comments. I love to engage with you and read about that and offer any further thoughts and ideas. So drop them in the comments. If you haven't already, make sure you follow and subscribe to this channel. And if you love topics related to skin, follow the Karam MD journal. Beautiful topics. All you have to do is sign up. It'll be emailed to you directly. And if you enjoyed this topic, hit like. Until next time, folks, Dr. Amir Karam, thank you so much.